So I've been making videos for a couple of months now, and I'm kind of surprised at how far this channel has gotten. And I think the best part is reading your comments. I try to respond to what I can, but a lot of the time it's really tough because I can only say so much in a single YouTube comment, and that especially applies for a lot of the longer and more thoughtful comments. So that's what this video is for. My personal belief is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The purpose in life is merely to experience it. Yeah, this is an interesting take. I do agree. I definitely agree with that. We don't have much of a purpose in life, just alone. We have to give life its purpose to really find any meaning in it. I believe I've gone over this. I think this is from one of my older videos. But yeah, life is meaningless if you don't give it any purpose. I've noticed it's getting harder and harder to find people with similar interests on or offline nowadays. This is definitely true, and I think it is harder for offline. At least online, you can meet people and at least bond with them over something. Like for example, most of my friends, I met them through Minecraft. So at least there's one interest there because we both play Minecraft. But in real life, that's very different. As well, offline, it's harder to make friends. I feel like it's way easier to make friends online than offline. For conveniency, some of these longer comments, I'm just gonna talk about my response to it, and I'll save you the time of reading it. So this comment here, I do agree. So yeah, of course, there's always a girl out there. I get that. But for me, I've always felt like I was in a position where it was difficult to find. Like I would need to go so far out of my way to find anyone really, just from me being from a small town, not getting around much, and pretty much being chronically online. There was no way that I would ever find anyone that way. So that's why I've worked really hard to just get away from that and just go out more. Not everyone fits into the ideas, women aren't evil or cheaters, and all men aren't lonely. Yeah, absolutely. I did generalize a lot, and if you couldn't tell, yeah, this was pretty black pill of me to say. Absolutely, I agree there are good and there are bad on both sides. When it comes to people being evil or cheaters and people being lonely, it's on both sides. Like it's not just women doing the cheating and men being lonely and depressed. Like it goes both ways. But I feel like a big problem is that there are plenty of them that they will cheat and they will do things like this, and they kind of get applauded for it, which it kind of sucks. But of course, not all are like that. I think the big problem too is that us men, these are the women that we end up with as like our first love, and all this does is just ruin our perception of love. So then you get all the women that are like, oh, we're all the nice guys. Well, it's us men that were nice guys, and we ended up with the wrong women, and they changed our perception of love and ruined it entirely, and that's what can turn men into cheaters and evil people, just like the women that we were with. So that's another problem too. That's kind of a bad thing that's been happening a lot. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You can be whoever you choose to be. I believe in you, man. Nothing but support. Thank you. I wish you the best as well. I do agree with this as well. Circumstances make things difficult, of course, but it's action that really pushes you forward. It's just me, it was tough to get that action and get that movement in the first place because I was just already in a tough position, but I'm making my way out. So these comments, so most of these comments that are really interesting to me, these ones come from my most controversial videos being, losing my virginity and you will never find love. Personally, I loved making those videos just because I love to see the discussion and the reaction of people in the comments, because it did start a really good discussion. Your attitude is 99 to 100% of the problem. Yeah, it is tough to get out of that mindset though, because a lot of this stuff, it does come from truth, albeit a very small truth. It is very like cherry picked, but like a lot of this bad stuff, it does happen, and it just leaves you with a bad taste and just changes your perception of like everything else afterwards. You talk about women like being run through as an issue. Okay, so the main thing I want to clarify with this, the way I wanted to put it is that absolutely it sounds very incel-like, but I really wanted to date a virgin because I wanted it to be like a special experience for the both of us. Like it's both of our first times. But I've more come to the realization that I'm likely never going to find someone that is a virgin. But my main reasoning behind it as well is I feel like I am very intimidated by women with higher body counts. The way I perceive it, the chances are higher and higher that I would just be a +1 to that count, and then she'll just move on and just get rid of me. So that's what kind of scared me about that, and it's also the idea that I might not satisfy them as much as a previous partner. So for that, it made me really just turned off and wanted to date someone that was a virgin. I really wanted someone with a really low body count, just because I had such a shitty self-perception of myself that I was scared of her like falling in love with their ex or something like that. I don't know. A lot of that came from just insecurities in myself. And also simultaneously giving off the energy of someone who wouldn't hesitate to do the running through. I feel like a lot of this came from just that shitty mindset that I had. If it wasn't clear already, it's kind of that I gave up on the whole idea of love. Like, I wanted someone that wasn't run through, but it's more that I came to the realization of it's going to be really hard to find someone like that. And also the fact that I feel like it was more just me giving up on the idea of love, because I just had a really shitty perception at the time. I just felt like I got really absorbed into just the whole black pill and just the whole like love isn't real, because for a lot of women that were, I guess, run through, it's kind of like what I said earlier with having a higher body count. To me, it would be like the higher your body count is, the more likely you are to just leave the next person and they're just going to be a +1 to that count. If a girl's already been through 10 other guys, what is there in me that makes me special, or more worthy out of those other 10 guys? So working on yourself does not mean being more attractive or getting more money. It means finding hobbies, learning skills, becoming a more interesting person. Absolutely, that is true. Don't get me wrong though, like being attractive and getting money, it does help. Like 100%, don't even deny it, it helps. But of course, it's not the end all be all. I'm fully in agreement with that. Personality doesn't matter, it's only looks. So with that, no, I do agree. Personality, it does matter. Absolutely, personality does matter. I also meant this more as in the whole idea with dating apps especially, and love being more commercialized. On dating apps, looks matter entirely. Looks and your pictures. That matters entirely. Because to even get someone to swipe on you, you need to look good. Like, that's 90% of it, and then the personality comes later. So your looks is like that initial barrier that you have to get through, then the personality matters afterwards. But that's more online. Meeting people in person, that's where personality does matter a lot more, 100%. And I want to say 100% looks, they do matter a little bit. Like, it does help. Like, okay, looks, whatever, they don't matter entirely, but looks, like looking more attractive, it does help. Absolutely. Like, if you don't believe in pretty privilege at this point, I just kind of believe you're a bit delusional. Not to be mean, but looks definitely do matter to an extent. Being more attractive absolutely will help you out. And also what you said at the end here, I want to focus on that too. I know plenty of dudes who are not attractive, who pull like crazy just because they have godlike charisma and are funny. There are a lot of guys out there that do not have good charisma and might not be that funny. So in that case, their looks can help them. And also, I'd like to ask about those dudes that are not attractive. How much more could they pull if they were more attractive? I could guarantee they could pull more. So looks do help. But of course, looks aren't everything. And this was a really good comment. I think this was the comment that really made me want to make this video and explain a little bit more. So, dude, you have such a fucked up view of relationships. Yeah, absolutely. It is a very fucked up view on relationships. And I feel like a lot of this, I'm not wanting to make this as an excuse, but I want to tell why. I want to explain why I had this view. I feel like a lot of this comes from, of course, being chronically online, being online way too much, and also the people I was surrounded with. A lot of my friends, they would basically just use women for like pictures and stuff like that, and like getting sent that kind of stuff, and just taking advantage of them. And not only was it those people I was surrounded by, but just not going out and not actually talking to women. So that's why I had this kind of view of relationships, and especially with the content I surrounded myself around, I absolutely fell into that black pill rabbit hole, which it does nothing but fuck up your view on relationships. It gives you that whole idea of love isn't real, take advantage of whoever, nobody's innocent, that kind of whole thing. Going on and on about how much you care about body count or how certain girls are supposed to be easy but you can't get them. So for me, I mean, to me that was just my insecurities just glaring in everyone's face and I'm very much highlighting my insecurities there. For me, I've always thought of myself as like, I felt like I would be a good partner, and I just couldn't seem to even get girls that are easier to get. For me, it just amazed me that I couldn't even get their attention at all. So it was the whole idea of I felt too scared to approach women in real life, and then online I couldn't even get these girls that pretty much everyone gets. So to me, it just made my view and respect for women go down, and it made my own self-respect go down. Body count, I kind of already explained that earlier, of why I did care about it. I'm more just like, as long as it's not absurdly high, it's okay. But for me, it's like, if I wanted to have more of a relationship, I wouldn't want someone with a crazy high body count. And do I have any platonic female friends? I do, but here's the issue. I did have a lot, but we kind of just grew apart, and it wasn't even me trying to do anything weird relationship-wise. A lot of the time, it was just that I initially thought about it, but then it was kind of more just like, you know, in hindsight, yeah, I would not want to have this person in a relationship. They're okay to have as a friend. They're okay to talk to as a person. But to be in a relationship with them, yeah, no. I'd rather pass. So, platonic female friends, very few. But I have very few friends in general. So, I guess that's kind of your answer for that. The point of a relationship isn't to... I don't know if I could say that on YouTube, but yeah. Those are the benefits, but the point is to spend time with someone you enjoy being around and support each other. Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like this does remind me of, like, my first relationship. Even though it was long distance, we both had very poor, like, self-images and very bad self-confidence, and we were able to at least build up each other's self-confidence. So that was something that was at least really nice. So, of course, I do agree with that, yeah. Like, of course, that's all the benefits afterwards, but... just put it this way, for someone that's been chronically online and isolated for God knows how long now, of course, you're not going to have the best view on relationships. And it's also because I do wish, I know it wouldn't have lasted, but I do wish I at least had some sort of a relationship in high school, just to at least know what it's like. For me, I'm going into this as a 20-year-old having no idea what it means to really love someone. And I get too afraid of, like, if I open up too much and they get scared off and they might run away from me. So it's kind of like a, what do I say? What do I do? How do I not get someone to run away from me? How do I attract people? And it's just all of these things that it's very overwhelming for me. So I do wish I at least had something before, and instead of just being clueless now. And getting a girlfriend won't magically fix you either, of course. This is, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, those experiences, they are good. They do kind of help me feel like I'm more, I don't know, getting out there and actually living my life, doing something. But absolutely, it doesn't fix you at all. And the reason people who seem content not to be in a relationship get all the girls is because they are happy with their life as it is. So therein lies the problem. Because I'm very much I'm trying to be, but absolutely I'm very not happy with my life. And I've always been in this, like, self-destructive cycle where I can try and fake it as much as I want, but I at least try to have more of a change in my mindset, so I can at least, not even just for attraction, I need to make myself better. I think one of my favorite quotes, I don't know who said it, but I mean, I'm gonna say it now. How can I expect people to love me if I can't love myself? That's pretty much what I live by. And I don't love myself. I mean, I'm trying to, but I find it very difficult to love myself, and that is definitely why I can't really find much out there for me. And not writing this to be mean, but try to wake you up. I mean, yeah, I get that, man. You're right. And yeah, absolutely, when you stop worrying about things like that, you start to enjoy life. For me, it's just that It was just something I wanted to experience, and for me, it was just a lot of FOMO and a lot of regret. That's kind of what I have just looming over my head. It's just stuff that I wish I did, but I never got to do. And now that I feel like I'm a 20-year-old trying to relive my life back as, like, I don't know, if I'm 15 or 16, I'm basically like, I feel like I absolutely threw away all of my teenage years. Because for me, I spent a lot of time online, and it wasn't even as in like I'm grinding and hustling online. No, I was just wasting my life away, just rotting on Discord and playing Minecraft. That was pretty much my entire life, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get out of now. And it's tough because a lot of the experiences that people have had back then, I don't have that now. So I feel like I'm just clueless as a 20-year-old, and it really doesn't help me out, but I'm trying. So some good advice I would give to you is have a change in attitude. You sound very depressed and defeated, which generally makes most people not want to be around you, including women. So I'll be honest, I think I did reply to this a little bit, but I would like to expand upon it. So what I say on this channel is very different from how I act in real life. I don't act like this in real life. I don't just have this doomer mindset all the time. I don't walk around going like, I wish I was a better person and making people feel all bad for me. No, I don't act like that at all, because I know for a fact everyone would want to get away from me as far as goddamn possible if I was like that. So that's why I don't act like that. It's more like whatever I say on this channel kind of more just stays on this channel. And I try to be more positive, but it's tough when you surround yourself with just darkness and you just always look at the bad side of things. I try, but it's a bit tough. It's a bit tough. Another good tip in my opinion when it comes to women is to joke with them and listen when they talk, and not to have the mindset of I want to sleep with her, but to be just friends. For me, I mean, it was only tough because I've had very bad experiences with, like, I wanted to get with someone and then I feel like I'm just stuck in a permanent friend zone. But absolutely, I do get that. It's just more that, like, when I've been isolated for this goddamn long, I come out into the world finally, and it's like, what am I supposed to think at this point? Like, I really have to rewire my brain from just years of fucked up mindsets and stuff like that, just from being alone and online and not really having anyone but my own thoughts. And that is what pretty much destroyed me and kind of made me like this. And that way you won't get heartbroken because of rejection. Absolutely, that is true. Because yeah, it is that initial feeling of like the stakes are high. I want to get with her, but I'm afraid of being rejected. Absolutely, that's very true. It's a very dark kind of thought, but it's the idea that there's always going to be more women out there like that. For lack of better terms, they are replaceable. Like, there could be someone out there just like them. You can always find someone else. Let's just put it that way. I also recommend to be outgoing so that you can meet new people, including women. So yeah, I mean, definitely trying to be more outgoing. I'm at least trying to make more, at least, connections with friends and just going out to meet people. Should be some young adult programs where you live. I'm just gonna be honest, man, there ain't shit in my area. There's like not much that I can really go to or do. Being from a small town, I need to go so far out of my way to just do anything. And I should speak with a therapist. Yeah, I do currently have a therapist. It is a bit rough because I don't know how much of my insurance is covering it. Like, I don't know if it's actually covering it properly, because I'd rather not have to spend $300 every week. I don't know why it's costing that much, but for me, it's almost a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I want to have more of a meaningful, lighthearted conversation with someone. And like, if it does go towards a darker subject, that's okay, but I at least want to talk and have more of like a lighthearted conversation instead of it feeling like a police interrogation, if that makes sense. And this is kind of a follow-up because it mentioned the previous comment. So you won't find someone who hasn't slept with someone else. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I've already come to terms with. So that's what like kind of caused me to spiral and be like, it's the whole idea of like, I haven't even gotten a hug from someone and people are already out here sleeping with other people. So it made me think of like, why couldn't I be someone that could at least have that sort of experience? Like, it goes back to that FOMO and regret. And it genuinely is important how many guys a girl has been with. That is true. Honestly, I've said it so many times in this video, I don't think it's really necessary to say it again, but you already know what I think about this. If it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, like that's not that big of a problem. And it also matters a lot with where you are, because certain countries are a lot more lax, a lot more, I guess, promiscuous, you could say, especially in the United States. Finding a girl my age that's a virgin, that's never had any sort of experience at all, and finding one that I am attracted to is kind of like, I have a better shot going out into a random field and finding a damn unicorn at this point. So I've already come to terms with that. And you're not owed that or entitled to it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Nobody is owed that or entitled to it, of course. But yeah, it's just that it was something I wanted, but I started getting increasingly more frustrated when you are surrounded by people that seem to get it effortlessly. Then it just makes you reflect on, what am I doing wrong? Why do I not deserve it or something? What's wrong with me? And the attitude, definitely. I don't express this attitude around anyone else in public at all. Like, this attitude stays online. This attitude stays on this channel. Like, people do not get to see this attitude, but I do understand, even having that mindset, you can get that vibe. Like, you can kind of get that vibe, or like other people will pick up on it. And yeah, that is kind of what can happen. Don't mean any of it in a horrible way at all. You've got to snap out of it. I mean, that's, yeah, go outside and get some sunshine. So this is more what I've been trying to do recently. I've already felt a lot better just by simply going outside. I think one of the things, it is a little bit off topic, but one of the things I wanted to bring up that I didn't like, a lot of people just said the whole idea of, I don't know if I could say it on YouTube, but it rhymes with corn, but just not watching that. People act like if you stop watching it, it'll give you superpowers and everything will go right. Like, don't get me wrong, not watching it helps, but you still have to put in other actions. You still have to put in work in other things. Just by not watching it, you're not gonna have this revelation of just your life is all of a sudden better. No, like, you have to do other things outside of that. I am only 20. I do get that. Personally, I would be curious to see the ages of people that comment on these videos, because I know there are a lot of people that are younger than me. There are a lot of people that are way older than me. And yeah, I know I am pretty young, but for me, it was always like people that are even younger than me. It just feels like they're doing something with their lives. With me, I've always felt like I'm just a waste. That's kind of what it felt like. And go to events, gigs, bars, anywhere. I'm trying to. I mean, at this point, the best places you can even go are just other people's houses. Because, like, at least in my area, there's really not much to do. You can't speak for most people. Most people have a job. You're chronically online. Oh, yeah, no shit. That will make you lonely, of course. Go outside, get fresh air, meet people, make friends. And honestly, if you ignored the internet for a year and pretend it didn't exist, you would be so much happier. This is more what I'm trying to get at. Like, not watching corn, like that, you can technically still watch it and be a functional person. I'm more like, if you just get away from being so online, which is what I am, like, I'm getting away from being chronically online. Absolutely, like, that is more what it is. You can make friends, experience things, and maybe even get laid along the way. All the best, mate. All the best to you too. But I think I responded to this saying, if only it were that easy. It was more because of the situation that I was in. But things are turning around for me, and I do have some at least more interesting stories. So not gonna say too much right now. I might leave it as more of a surprise. But bro, I love your videos so much. Please stay alive. I'm trying. And the last one is actually a kind of a question I have more for myself. Like, why did I decide to make this channel? Why am I doing this? So I saw this style of content was really becoming more popular on Minecraft. Like the whole idea of just talking and just doing whatever, right? And I also really like the idea of like storytelling videos. Like one person that comes to mind is like Luna. I know they had some pretty crazy stories. And even one of my friends, he's had crazy stories too. But for me, I've always felt very lost with it, because it's like, my life was literally so unbelievably mundane and boring to where I'm like, I don't have any crazy click-worthy stories at all. Like, I don't have any of that people would be interested in. So that's why I knew that I could at least go more of like the self-improvement and advice route, because I've always been very good at giving other people advice and then not taking my own advice, even though I'm probably the person that needs it the most. But with that being said, for me, it's kind of just a nice place for me to get out my thoughts. I do like the idea of not having my real life identity tied to this. I really like the idea of this being a kind of anonymous place for me to just talk about really what's on my mind, hence the channel name. And also, I realized how many people related to my videos, which was cool to see, but also kind of depressing. But I really liked making these videos also because it at least lets people know that they aren't alone with this. I've had so many situations where I felt like I was completely alone where I was, being as depressed as I was, even though I grew up in an absolutely fine household, good childhood, everything. And I seemed to have a lot of like achievements and things like that. And it was this whole idea of like, I have all of this stuff, but how am I still upset? Why am I not satisfied with myself? And it's at least nice to see that I'm not completely alone thinking this way. And it's also nice to it's also nice for other people too, because often when you have issues like this, you always want to think that you're alone, nobody else has this issue, but it couldn't be further from the truth. So hopefully I can make some more videos like this in the future, and yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, and until next time.